Nature can be beautiful, but when it turns violent, the results can be truly terrifying. In recent weeks, deadly storms and floods have brought chaos to Tennessee and nearby states. What started as heavy rain quickly turned into a full-blown disaster. Roads became rivers, homes were swept away, families were trapped, and many are still missing. This isn't just another weather event. It's a state emergency that has shocked even the most experienced weather experts. From powerful winds and massive hail to non-stop rainfall and dangerous flash floods, Tennessee is facing one of the worst natural disasters in its history. Entire communities are underwater, schools are shut down, and over 10,000 people are without power. We'll explore what caused this chaos, how people are surviving, and what comes next. The storm begins. It started with a soft drizzle, just a light rain tapping on windows and rooftops. By afternoon, the rain grew stronger. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the winds began to howl. The National Weather Service issued a warning, flash flood alert, take immediate action. But for many, it was already too late. In West Tennessee, counties like McNairy, Obion, and Fayette were hit first. Within minutes, streets turned into rivers. Cars floated like toy boats, pushed by the powerful currents. Some people were trapped in their vehicles, calling for help. Others climbed onto rooftops, waving for rescue. Emergency sirens echoed through towns. First responders rushed out with boats and helicopters. But the water kept rising, fast. Roads were blocked, power lines snapped, and cell service began to fail. Families were separated, homes destroyed, and the rain, it didn't stop. Meteorologists explained that this wasn't just a regular storm. It was powered by something rare and dangerous, an atmospheric river. This is a long, narrow band of moisture high in the sky that carries water from the ocean deep into the land. When it hits, it can release huge amounts of rain in a very short time. That's exactly what happened. The flood spreads. As the rains continued to pour, things only got worse. What started in West Tennessee began to spread across the state. Floodwaters moved fast, swallowing everything in their path: roads, buildings, parks, even entire neighborhoods. In Middle Tennessee, counties like Sumner, Dixon, and Cheatham were next. Families woke up to water outside their front doors. The National Weather Service issued flash flood and tornado warnings across the region. It was a double threat: first the water, then the wind. In some towns, giant trees were ripped from the ground. Homes already damaged by water were crushed by falling branches or blown apart by strong gusts. It felt like nature was throwing everything it had at Tennessee. Volunteers worked around the clock, handing out blankets, food, and dry clothes. Meteorologists warned that some areas could get up to 15 inches of rain by the end of the week. Streets that were dry just a day before were now rivers. Some highways looked like lakes. And in the small towns, the water wasn't just outside, it was inside people's homes. In rural areas, farmers were hit especially hard. Entire fields were underwater, livestock drowned. Despite the danger, many people showed incredible bravery. Neighbors helped neighbors. Some used their own boats to rescue strangers. But even with all this courage, the storm didn't stop. More lightning, more thunder, more rain. Emergency radios crackled with warnings. By Friday, it was clear, this wasn't just a Tennessee problem. The storm system had spread into Arkansas, Missouri, and even Kentucky. Meteorologists issued high-risk warnings for excessive rainfall in those states too. Some areas received 2 to 4 inches of rain in just a few hours. But forecasts warned that more was coming, much more. Up to 15 inches of rain could fall in parts of Tennessee before the week was over. That amount of water can cause catastrophic flooding. Governor Bill Lee declared a state of emergency to quickly send help and resources to the hardest-hit areas. Streets were completely flooded, cars were abandoned, and emergency shelters started filling up with families who had nowhere else to go. Heavy storms arrived during the night, when people were sleeping. They woke up to water rushing into their homes. Some only had minutes to grab what they could before escaping. The breaking point. By the weekend, Tennessee had reached a terrifying turning point. The rain hadn't stopped. In fact, it had gotten worse. Entire towns were no longer just flooded, they were underwater. From the ground, it was hard to tell where the land ended and the rivers began. From the air, towns looked like islands, if they hadn't completely disappeared underwater. In northwest Tennessee, the situation was critical. Towns like Dyersburg and Tiptonville were drowning. Roads were cut off, rescue teams couldn't reach people in time. Helicopters flew low, searching for signs of life on rooftops, waving hands, or flashlights in the dark. This was now a massive emergency. Some areas had received over 12 inches of rain. The Tennessee Emergency Management Agency warned that certain counties were facing life-threatening flooding conditions. Then, it happened. As if the floods weren't enough, a series of tornadoes tore through parts of the state. One after another, violent funnels of wind ripped across the landscape, flattening homes, lifting cars, and adding to the destruction already caused by the flood. In Gibson County, a tornado hit just after midnight. People were sleeping, unaware of what was coming. By morning, entire neighborhoods were gone, reduced to piles of wood, bricks, and broken memories. One survivor described it like this: "The rain was pounding the windows. Then suddenly, it went quiet. A few seconds later, the whole house shook like it was in an explosion." The damage was beyond imagination. With roads destroyed, power lines down, and thousands without clean water, aid workers rushed to set up temporary shelters. But even shelters were starting to flood. There simply weren't enough safe places for everyone. In some areas, boats couldn't even be used anymore, the current was too strong. Rescuers had to wait for the water to calm, hoping people trapped inside buildings could survive a few more hours. It wasn't just dumping rain, it was growing stronger. Experts called it a 500-year flood event. Some even warned that this might be one of the most dangerous weather weeks in modern U.S. history. Aftermath and survival. When the rain finally stopped, it didn't bring peace, it brought silence. A heavy, heartbreaking silence. The kind that follows great loss. Tennessee was no longer the same. Entire towns were left unrecognizable. Streets had turned into rivers, rivers into lakes, and homes into piles of mud and shattered wood. But the true impact could be seen in the faces of survivors, tired, shocked, and heartbroken. Emergency crews worked non-stop, searching for missing people and helping families reconnect. Volunteers from nearby states drove in to help clean debris, deliver supplies, and offer comfort. It would take weeks to get electricity back in some areas, and months, maybe years, for full recovery. As the skies cleared and the sun finally broke through the clouds, people stepped outside to face what was left. There were tears, yes, but also determination. Tennessee had been knocked down hard. But it wasn't giving up. The floods may have taken homes, memories, and even lives, but they couldn't wash away the courage of the people who lived through it. This disaster showed us the worst of nature, but also the best of humanity. In every rescue, every helping hand, and every act of kindness, we saw what it means to stand strong together. We've followed the storm from its first drops to its final destruction. And now, we look ahead. Recovery will take time, pain will linger, but so will unity. Communities will rebuild, brick by brick, heart by heart. And the next time the skies darken and the rains return, the people of Tennessee will be ready, not just with sandbags and warnings, but with the strength they found in each other.